Download the Justice HQ mobile app today to stay connected with the entire legal industry for all events, mentorship, doesn't matter if you're staff, a lawyer, a legal vendor, got you covered. Welcome to this episode of the Justice Team Podcast. I'm your host, Bob Simon, and today we're with my partner in law, and we talk more than probably my wife, Greg Jackson. What's up, Greg?
How's it going, Bob? It's great to be here and excited to talk about some very interesting cases.
So Greg and I have been very passionate about helping folks in civil rights, and a lot what's going on in the nation. And Greg is at the forefront. We're working on some high-profile cases, and Greg is, he is, you see him in the newspapers, you see him in the interviews, but he's in the trenches doing a lot of, real legal work, like high thought process stuff. And he can do that because he actually went to Georgetown. He's one of those smart guys, but he did start us with us as a law clerk way back in the day when you were at UCLA. What a pedigree.
That's true. I was a senior in undergrad. It was before I'd even graduated when I came on board, and then I've stayed here ever since.
Yeah, but I met him at a party in Vegas for trial lawyers. I didn't know. I thought he was there for that event. It was for Judicate West. Shout out to Judicate West. And there he was. And then he was working for us the next week, came in his motorcycle. And now here he is, partner with the law firm, the Justice Team. All right, so Greg, let's start with, you filed a very high-profile case last week.
Yes. This is a wrongful death civil rights case. It's deprivation of life without due process against the county of Stanislaus for a client of ours whose daughter was deprived of her heart medication for 6 weeks while she was in custody, even though she was complaining of her diagnosis, that she had this chest pain, this dizziness, these fainting spells. Her mom was calling. It's documented in their own records that she had these diagnoses and that she needed the medication, and they didn't give it to her. And she had a fatal heart attack, a severe heart attack where she was on life support for 2 weeks before passing away.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just, there are so many different opportunities for them to rectify this, and so many times where it's documented that she complained, and they would bring her out of her cell and do a vitals check and just send her right back in, and that's it.
So, but this was at Stanislaus County in California.
Yeah.
Was there a specific facility? Like, kind of walk our listeners and viewers how this goes down.
Sure. So this woman is she was in her mid-20s. She had some developmental delays and disabilities due to some complications during childbirth. She also had some mental health diagnosis. She had been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, major depressive disorder, and had occasional, those bouts of this mental illness, where her family would have to call to get her put into a hospital, for a couple days as her medication would get sorted out. And that's kind of what happened here, where she got into an argument with her neighbor. No physical altercation. It was always just she would yell, and so her family has her taken to the hospital. Police come and they book her just on assault, simple assault, and she's taken to the county jail. Her mom follows her there, brings the medication, gives it to them, brings all the paperwork. They document it, and it's 6 weeks of very heartbreaking complaints where she's asking, and there's direct quotes from her in the medical records that I'll tear up talking about it, but where she's saying, like, I miss my mom. When do I get to go home? She doesn't really fully understand what's going on, and she's saying, my chest hurts. I need my medication. Like, I can't breathe. It's terrible. And 6 weeks of this, and they didn't give her medication. Her family was finally able to scrounge up enough money to make bail from the church. Her mom picks her up, takes her home to shower, goes out to get some food so she can take her meds on a full stomach, and she had a heart attack within 3 hours of being released. And
wow, and just early 20s.
Yeah, so it's the Stanislaus Public Safety Center. It's handled by the sheriff's department, but then the medical personnel is contracted out to a company that their DBA is WellPath, and they actually have had hundreds of claims against them for negligent medical care, and I guess public entities still use them even after some recent restructuring.
Tax-paying dollars are given to the county, who then contracts with this company that has hundreds of complaints. We know of at least one death, probably others, and still there it goes.
Still there it goes.
Wow. So Walker, because we have a lot of attorneys that are listening. Like, when you're doing these civil rights cases, it's a lot of passion work, because it's not only is it these cases are more challenging, they're usually more expensive to do, and kind of walk us through, because you get you filed like a 12-page complaint the other week. Like, well, what does this look like?
The complaint was, it was 11 causes of action and about, I think, 104 pages, 105 pages. And it's like the process works the same way you do a Federal Torts Claim Act, where you have to file a claim with the public entity. You have to wait, and for state court, it's 45 days. Sorry, for the state entities, it's 45 days. You don't have to wait 6 months to see if they'll accept or reject. Then you can file the lawsuit. And so they acknowledge receipt, but they never formally accepted or rejected. So we were able to file the lawsuit and filed it in federal court because it's that deprivation of life without due process, that 1983 claim. That's really going to get us there. And
so what's the 1983 claim?
sure. So it's the code section, the U.S. Code section 42 U.S.C. 1983, that gives private individuals the right to sue state and local public entities for various civil rights infractions. So it can be under the 8th and 14th Amendment. It can be Fourth Amendment itself.
There's a lot of Fourth and 14th Amendment with a lot of the cases against ICE, which we will get to. But this is a federal statute.
Correct. Yeah. So because this one was filed in federal court against a state agency.
But you can still use the same.
California law gets applied. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people just don't understand is these are federal protection. And I know, with a lot of stuff we see in the news and here is they're trying to roll back some of those civil rights protections that are guaranteed within the Constitution and by federal statute. So it's one of those things is we are seeing wins in the court. And I know like there have been a lot of activity and these are being upheld. So what I want people to know and understand is you do have rights for your civil liberties. And unfortunately, we had a young woman here that died because of the extreme negligence. 6 weeks this is like, and unfortunately, you can't really punish the government. You cannot do that. However, with the private individual, there may be a path to have what we call punitive damages,
and we alleged punitive damages against individual defendant because it was, reckless, willful, deliberate withholding of this medication, despite knowing that she was in need of it, in severe need.
And isn't it crazy that it would have taken 15 minutes of their time and probably a very low cost prescription?
They didn't even need to do that because her mom brought her prescription in and they took it.
Oh my
God! They took the pills and they took her her physical prescription, her notes from her cardiologist that she had been seeing for over 10 years. They brought it all in. They had everything. There's literally no excuse whatsoever not to give her this medication. Just because someone is in custody doesn't mean they don't have rights. Doesn't mean they're not a human being deserving of medical treatment, basic medical care.
Yeah, basic medical care. Yeah. That wouldn't even cost them anything.
Nothing at all.
Zero.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's going to be out in the media a lot. And, they should, in a case like this, is something where they should just do the right thing. And by doing the right thing, I mean, not only, compensating for the loss to the family, but changing the way you do stuff. Like if there's been a lot of this in the past, there should be no more in the future.
Of course. And so that's why within the complaint, we've actually named a couple DOE defendants who are going to be the higher level policymaking officials within the county who have known that there is this system going on where whether it was a failure of checks and balances or it was just deliberate failure to administer medication, there's got to be someone who's checking to make sure, like, hey, it says this detainee has this diagnosis and should be getting this medication, but I don't see it in the medication logs. Like, what's wrong with that? And so we really are going to push for policy changes because this shouldn't be happening to anybody.
Hi, this is Bob Simon with the Justice Team Network. I'm shouting out today CallRail. We attach CallRail to all of our calls. We make sure they're all recorded and transcribed. And the reason we do that is we put intelligence on top of those calls to make sure not only that our intake and our people are saying the right things, but we want to make sure that every single customer that comes to our door, if it's not a fit for us, it might be a fit for somebody else. And building that intelligence into our intake calls allows us to refer or co-counsel with another firm across all practice areas across the United States using callrail.com. Just use code JTN for a free 30-day trial.
So let's turn the page. I know there's some of the cases we're working on that we really can't talk about because of where they are in the stages, but I know there's some that you're filing or may have filed already in the past day or two, the Federal Torts Claim Act for the Longoria family who got shot at by ICE agents.
Yeah. So this is the one of the other claims that we're going to be having against ICE and CBP. The August 16th shooting out in San Bernardino of Francisco Longoria, Jonathan Longoria, and Martin Daniel Rascon. And so I have those claim forms ready, and after this is when I'm going to be sending them out.
Yeah, and to walk through the process, so this is where initially they said that Francisco Longoria tried to hit agents with his car. They feared for their lives. That's why they shot at the car. They did no investigation, and of course, we had cell phone videos from inside the car. We had to take the laboring oar to go get the bullets out of the car, go get the surveillance of the four corners of the intersection, show that this statements from ICE was absolutely fabricated. And only then, after they went and they literally had the SWAT team come break down his door, arrest him at 4 a.m. in the morning, set it as arraignment at 2 p.m. later that day for saying assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. Never saw the vehicle that we had. We were asking, hey guys, can you come take a look at this? There's the bullets. Can you come take a look at this? Never had any surveillance video. Instead, they arrested a guy that was completely innocent.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary of it. The criminal complaint itself didn't even allege, as the judge pointed out, a lawful basis for the initial stop. They just claimed that they were going to do an immigration check of these Hispanic people who were just driving, have not violated any traffic laws whatsoever. You can't do that. You need reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. The video from not only the inside the vehicle of the cell phones from the two passengers, but a restaurant nearby had surveillance footage that we got a couple days after the incident. And when I spoke to the owner of that restaurant, she says nobody has talked to me about this. No police, nobody has come. Like, there's a shooting right outside, and like nobody has come and asked me if I have video except for you.
They shot right at the door as he's driving away. We're a teenager sitting, and a citizen that's a teenager sitting there, and they shot right at him.
Yeah,
and it sounds like these things. We hear a lot of people like, well, they're just going after criminals and they're doing this is just not what's happening. And unfortunately, they try to do this in the dark of night. By that I mean that they're supposed to be wearing where's your body cams. They're supposed to be able to document all these things, not for their safety and ours, but they're wearing masks. And in this case specifically, we saw that they're wearing all kind of different logos. There's no way to really identify who they are. They're asking for identification. They don't give it to you. Instead, they just break down your window and shoot at you.
Pretty much, yeah. Like we've all seen this on the news. These officers that are just running around in, sometimes they'll be in like Sprinter vans or minivans and these not marked vehicles.
Or sometimes you can have a U-Haul with their social media team.
Yeah,
they claim they don't have video
they
of
roll
anything.
up the windows of the U-Haul and they get out like some secret police, and it's like, I don't know who you are. And there have been cases where people have pretended to be ICE and robbed people. I know there was one in Los Angeles earlier this summer.
And there was an Uber driver that was saying that he was ICE and was like trying to detain people. Like, this is crazy.
It's like, this is why they should not be wearing masks, and why they should have clear identification, clear uniforms. Not like, you're in your jeans and a t-shirt and a baseball cap, and then you're wearing a gaiter covering your face and these sunglasses. Like, who are you?
And the FBI actually told them, they issued that, they said that you should not be wearing masks and you should be identifying yourselves.
Yeah.
For their safety and the citizens. But now we're seeing, and of course that doesn't happen. They filed charges against Mr. Longoria. Unfortunately, that just was nothing of it was true. And when they have no legal reason to stop it, the only reason that they pulled him over is because they looked like they had just come from work.
Yep. They were just driving in a truck in the morning. They saw Hispanic people in a car and decided that was enough for them to do an immigration check. And
by immigration check, it means 3 vehicles pulling up on you hot and one jumping out with a gun pointed at you.
As if they're going to hijack your vehicle. Like, it's and the video from the surveillance camera really shows how they speed up and just pull out right in front of the truck. There's no sirens, there's no overhead lights, to give a warning of, hey, like, we're the police. It's just, and then guys get out with guns already drawn and start pounding on your windows. And, the passengers are asking, like, identification. What do you want? No answer. And they just break the window, punch Francisco in the head. They break the passenger window. And of course, Francisco is scared. And so he drives straight away and they start shooting. Even though, as the video shows, none of the agents got hit. None of them were in the path of the vehicle. They were on the sides and behind it. And they shot, and then they knew they had made this mistake. And so they trump up these charges to get him and try to cover themselves. And did no investigation, didn't inspect the vehicle, didn't collect the bullets, as you point out. Like, our investigator had to collect the bullets. The vehicle is still, in the family's custody.
Wait, you mean to tell me the murder weapon is still At their house?
Yeah, like
They haven't even looked at it?
nothing, no investigation at all. And then the complaint just alleged that all these officers were like they were hit and like my body was spun by the vehicle and I feared for my life. And then you watch the videos and none of them are hit at all. None doesn't touch any of them. And so of course they
What kind of officer is so afraid for their life? And it's like, that are you serious? So I saw something this week where DHS put something out, and it's like there have been so many times where motorists are trying to run down and kill agents with their car, and I actually commented on the page, and I was like, we're handling those, and those are just allegations by your officers that have all been proven to be false.
And we're seeing a pattern, and I've spoken to a couple other attorneys about this. I've spoken to some defenders about this. Where it's a pattern where the ICE or CBP will ram someone else's vehicle and then claim that that person rammed them, and that's why they get to shoot them. And we saw this happen in Chicago with that paralegal whose name I can't remember, but ICE is driving, and they hit her car, and this one, thankfully, there's bystander video. And so what do? They immediately like pull over, and they yank her out and throw her to the ground and say that she attacked them when the video shows it. They just ran into her. And this is what they do.
So they'll because they assume that they have no personal culpability or responsibility, which is not true. Why is it not true, Greg?
Yeah, because we can name you as individual defendants, and we can get punitive damages for these constitutional rights violations, and we're going to. We are coming after you.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the, attorney generals of of states. There are district attorneys of cities that are being quite clear that they will not tolerate constitutional violations and crimes by individual federal agents.
That's right. And also, of course, Trump can only pardon them for federal crimes, not state. And so a lot of these, attempted murder, kidnapping, assault, battery, those are state crimes. And
and we see people jumping out of cars just pointing guns at people. That you're not allowed to do that. Like that's kind of a crime.
Yeah, that or like there was that one in Riverside, I think, over the weekend where the officer, it's like late at night, and he is like pointing his gun at a teenager that's driving by in his truck, and like he's off duty, but he felt comfortable enough to just walk out into the street in the middle of the night and point his gun at this kid and like interrogate him for like half an hour.
They're pressing charges against him, and we know the lawyer Greg, who's working on that one. I saw he was quoted on it. So like, look, watching or listening, you can reach out to us at the Justice Team. You can, if you have a case, you can send it to Greg on Attorney Share. Take a look at it. There's a lot of specialists out there looking to help, and this is a very niche practice of area practice, and there's not a lot of folks that do it. But at least if you send it our way, we can at least find the person that may be able to help you nationwide. And I just want lawyers to know and understand, like, you can reach out to us as a resource, because it's not something you come out of law school knowing how to do. Even if you practice personal injury for 2 decades, it's not like something it's not the same.
Yeah.
These are a lot different. It's very technical procedurally in order to even get to where you need to go.
Yeah, and again, if this is even in California, hit us up, because we have a network. It's a really good community, and I have spoken to a lot of attorneys, and everyone is very much understanding that we're in this together, and we're all resources for each other. So, yeah.
Well, Greg, how do people get a hold of you? Best way?
Best way is email or Instagram. So Instagram is my first last name, greg.jackson.esq. Email is greg, G-R-E-G, @justiceteam.com. I check those, especially my email, all day, every day.
Yeah, trust me, he does.
So if you reach out to me there, I will see it.
And when Greg reaches out to me, I have my AI respond to some of those emails. But then I let him know. I was like, look, that one was pretty good. Or I like AI show.
They're not bad. They're not
It's
bad.
pretty funny. Like, it tries to analyze like the last conversations and even stuff like this. It's cool. Well, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of Justice Team Podcast on the Justice Team Network. Again, reach out to us. We're here to help you. And Greg, man, thank you for doing the Lord's work.
Thank you very much.
This is Bob Simon, the co-founder of Attorney Share. As a law firm owner, we use it to track all of the cases that we have coming in. It automatically updates our referral partners and also gives us new opportunities for cases that we would like to work on. Get your free account on attorneyshare.com today.